The misunderstanding in the middle of a deep alien forest. Everything was silent except for the sound of a small fire. Jack, a human explorer, sat alone near this fire. His face was tired, his clothes dirty, and his eyes looked up at the night sky full of strange stars. He was lost on this unknown planet for many days, trying to find a way back to his ship. Not far from him, hiding behind thick blue leaves, a young alien girl named Leah watched him carefully. Her large yellow eyes did not blink. Her people always told scary stories about humans, that they eat their mates whole, chewing their bones and swallowing them alive. Leah's mother always warned her, never trust a human mouth. One smile can mean your last breath. Leah's small hand shook as she watched Jack take out a piece of raw meat. He cooked it over the fire, turning it slowly. The smell spread in the air, mixing with the scent of flowers and wet leaves. Leah covered her nose but could not stop watching. Suddenly, Jack smiled to himself. He looked so happy to have food. He lifted the meat with both hands and opened his mouth wide. His teeth shone in the firelight. He took a big bite, tearing the meat with sharp teeth. The sound of meat breaking made Leah's heart stop. A soft cry escaped her mouth. She quickly covered it with both hands, but Jack heard. His head turned fast towards the bushes. His eyes narrowed. He knew he was being watched for days, but he thought it was just forest animals. "Who's there?" he asked in a tired but calm voice. Leah froze. Her heart beat so fast she thought it would break her chest. She did not want him to find her, but a small animal near her foot ran away, making the leaves shake. Jack stood up slowly. He did not want to scare whoever was there, but he needed to know. He took a few steps forward. The fire behind him made his shadow long and scary. Leah tried to crawl backward, but her foot slipped on wet ground. She fell on her side with a loud thud. Jack stopped. He could now see a pair of glowing eyes under the leaves. "Hey, it's okay. I won't hurt you," he said softly, raising his empty hands to show he had no weapon. But to Leah, those hands meant danger. She believed he would grab her and push her into his big human mouth. Tears filled her eyes. She tried to stand, but her ankle hurt from the fall. Jack knelt down, moving slowly like he would with a scared animal. He could now see her face. She was beautiful in a strange way, her skin light purple, her hair like soft white feathers, and her eyes too big for her small face. She looked so young and so afraid. "Are you hurt?" Jack asked in a low voice. Leah did not answer. Her lips trembled. She whispered in her language, hoping he would not understand. "Please don't eat me. Please." Jack tilted his head. He did not understand her words, but saw her tears. His heart felt heavy. He hated seeing anyone cry, human or alien. He moved a little closer. Leah screamed, a sharp, scared sound that made birds fly from trees. She pushed herself backward, falling into mud. Her hair stuck to her cheeks. Jack stopped moving at once. He raised both hands higher. "Okay, okay, I won't come closer. See, I stop here," he said, trying to sound gentle. Leah could not believe his words. She saw his mouth, the same mouth that bit the meat so easily. She thought, "Next will be me. He will swallow me whole." Jack slowly sat down right where he was. He picked up a piece of cooked meat from his fire and threw it gently towards her, so it landed near her muddy foot. Leah stared at the meat. She sniffed. It smelled good, but she remembered the old stories. Humans feed their prey before eating them whole. She cried harder, covering her face with muddy hands. Jack watched her, feeling helpless. He wished he had a translator or someone to help. He spoke slowly, pointing at his mouth and then at the meat. "Food, just food. I eat this. Not you." Leah did not understand the words, but she saw his eyes. They did not look hungry for her. They looked soft and worried. A cold wind passed through the forest. The fire crackled for a few minutes. Both the human and the alien girl just sat there, watching each other in the dancing firelight. Two creatures from different worlds, trapped by fear and old lies. In Leah's mind, one question repeated again and again: is he really not a monster? And in Jack's mind, only one thought lived: how do I make her trust me? The misunderstanding had begun, but under the alien moon, a strange bond was ready to grow. The gentle truth night grew deeper, and the fire between them burned lower. Jack did not move closer to Leah. He stayed where he was, feeling the cold reach his bones, but not daring to stand. If he moved fast, she would run, and she was already hurt. Leah sat half hidden behind a big root. Her ankle throbbed with pain, but her fear of the human man hurt her heart more than her foot. She could not stop staring at his mouth. In her mind, that mouth was a cave of death. Jack sighed and poked the fire with a stick. He picked up another piece of meat and bit it slowly this time, making sure she saw how he chewed it like normal food. Then he pointed at the meat, at his own mouth, and then pointed at her and shook his head hard. No, Leah tilted her head, tears still on her face. She understood nothing of his words, but something in his actions felt different. He was showing her he ate only the meat, not her. Slowly, Jack did something risky. He stood, keeping his body low and calm, and walked backward to his camp bag. He found a small metal box. Inside was his translator device. It was old and half-broken, but maybe it could help. He held it up to show Leah. She stiffened, but did not scream. She watched his every move. Jack pressed the button. The small speaker hummed alive. He spoke softly into it. "I'm not going to hurt you." The device crackled and spit out strange, broken alien words. Leah's eyes widened. She heard her own tongue from a human machine. It was not perfect, but she understood. "Not hurt you." She gasped and whispered back, "Humans eat mates." Jack frowned. The translator caught some words, but not all. He heard, "Humans eat." He shook his head fast. "No, we eat animals, not people, not mates." Leah's fingers dug into the mud. Her mother's warnings echoed in her mind, fighting the sight in front of her. Jack sat down again and gently pushed the translator closer to her, along with a small piece of dried fruit. Leah reached forward with shaking fingers. Her claws brushed the fruit. She sniffed it, then bit it. Sweetness filled her mouth. "No poison," she chewed slowly, eyes never leaving his. Jack smiled a small, tired smile. He showed her more food, dried nuts, berries, water. He put it all near her, but never touched her. Leah ate like a hungry child, tears falling on her knees. She spoke slowly, testing the translator. "Why, here," Jack answered, voice low. "Ship crashed, lost, cold." He pointed to the stars. "My home far away." Leah listened. Her heart, full of fear minutes ago, now felt soft and confused. Was this how a monster acted? Sharing food, showing pain, staying far so she felt safe? Suddenly, a sharp howl cut the night. Both froze. Jack grabbed a burning stick and stood up fast. Searching the darkness, Leah's tribe beasts hunting. Wolves with 6 eyes, smelled human blood and fresh meat. Jack moved in front of Leah without thinking. He raised the burning stick high. Shadows moved between the trees. The wolves came closer, hungry for easy prey. Leah's eyes widened. She knew her people's beasts. They never feared humans. They tore them apart. She whispered, "Run, human, run." But Jack did not run. He stood still like a stone shield in front of her. When the first wolf jumped, Jack swung the fire, stick hard. Flames brushed the beast's fur. It yelped and fell back. To more wolves circled. Leah's breathing turned sharp and fast. She saw a human risking his life, not trying to eat her, but trying to save her. Jack's foot slipped in the mud. A wolf bit his leg. He screamed, but kicked it away, pushing fire in his face. Blood dripped down his boot, but he did not step back. Leah's eyes burned with tears. She remembered her mother's voice, "Humans swallow you whole." But now she saw the truth. This human would rather bleed for her than harm her. She found a broken branch near her feet. Ignoring her hurt ankle, she crawled closer behind Jack. When a wolf jumped again, she slammed the branch into its side. It howled and fled into the trees. Together, human and alien stood back to back, fire and sticks in hand, fighting off the night's teeth. When the last wolf vanished into the shadows, both dropped to their knees, breathing heavy. Jack looked at her, sweat and blood on his face. Leah looked at him, her fear melting like snow in sunlight. In a broken whisper she said through the translator, "You protect me." Jack touched his chest, weak but smiling. "Always, in that forest, under the silent stars." The first crack broke in the wall between fear and trust. For the first time in her life, Leah wondered, maybe humans were not monsters. Maybe they were protectors. Her people come at night slowly turned to a heavy misty dawn. The smell of burned wood and blood mixed with the cold forest air. Jack leaned against a large stone, pressing torn cloth to his bleeding leg. His eyes felt heavy, but he stayed awake, watching Leah sleep beside the dying fire. Leah curled up in a nest of leaves and his spare blanket, dreamed for the first time, without nightmares of a human mouse swallowing her whole. Instead, she dreamed of warm arms and a shield of fire. But peace did not last long. Far beyond the trees, shadowy figures moved with silent steps. Leah's tribe, tall, thin warriors with bone spears and glowing eye markings, tracked her. Since she first left her village to watch the human. The warriors spoke softly to each other. The human poisoned her mind. Old tales are true. He eats her thoughts first. We must free her. We must burn him. The matriarch of the hunting party, an old woman named Shira, moved ahead of them. Her hair was white as frozen. Rivers in her eyes glowed like deep caves. She carried a carved bone staff, a sign of her power to decide life or death. Jack felt the ground tremble before he heard their whispers. He gently shook Leah awake. She blinked sleepily, then froze. When she heard the soft footsteps to Leah, Jack said through his broken translator, "Someone, come." Leah's heart dropped. She knew that sound, tribe hunters. She looked at Jack's hurt leg and her throat tightened. Her people would never believe her now. They would kill him slowly to feed the goddess of fear. She grabbed his hands, trying to pull him up. "We run," she whispered, but it was too late. Shadows surrounded the fire in seconds. At least 10 warriors pointed sharp bone spears at Jack's chest and head. Their leader, Shira, stepped forward, eyes full of cold judgment. Leah stepped in front of Jack, spreading her small arms wide. "No, he not monster. He's safe," she begged in her language. Shira did not blink. Her voice cracked like dry wood. "Child, move. The eater dies here." Jack could not understand all the words, but the spears told him enough. He raised his hands, showing his empty palms. His translator buzzed weakly, "Not enemy, please." One warrior hissed and slammed the stick from Jack's hand. Another pushed Leah aside, ignoring her cries. Strong rope made of braided plant fiber wrapped around Jack's wrists and neck. His wound reopened. Blood soaked his pants again. Leah tried to fight them, but was pulled back by the older women. They whispered poison into her ears. "Look at his teeth. He lied. You are just soft meat to him. Let us save you." Poor thing. Shira leaned down, face inches from Jack's face. She smelled his breath, like a wild beast testing prey. Her nose wrinkled. She spat on the ground. "He tastes lies. We cleanse this sickness tonight," she declared. The warriors dragged Jack across the muddy ground. He did not fight. His eyes locked with Leah's. He tried to smile, to calm her, but his mouth trembled with pain. "Leah, run," the translator whispered before dying in static. Leah fell to her knees as they vanished into the trees. Tears wet the earth under her palms. Deep in her heart, something sharp and bright woke up. Anger. Her people claimed they protected her, but they would kill the only being who showed her truth and kindness. The tribe reached a clearing where an ancient swamp waited. A giant pit bubbled with black water. Old bones floated on the surface. Shira lifted her staff and shouted to the silent sky, "Goddess, tonight, your fear-eater returns to the pit." Jack, tied to a tall wooden pole, could only see blurry shapes and firelight dancing around him. Pain burned his leg like fire ants. He thought about Earth, home, family, warm showers. None of it mattered now. Only Leah's eyes mattered. Hidden behind sharp reeds. Leah watched everything. Her hands clenched a sharp stone she found near the ruins. Her people whispered fear. Jack showed her courage. The drums of the tribe grew louder. Warriors danced and painted each other with white mud. Shira lifted a curved knife, pointing it at Jack's heart. The swamp hissed behind him like a hungry mouth. Leah pressed the stone to her chest. Her fear melted into a clear thought. "I will not let him die." As the first drumbeat thundered through the swamp, Leah crawled like a ghost through the tall grass, closer to the pole, closer to the man who broke her old nightmares. Under the cold moon, her people prepared to feed the swamp a lie, but Leah carried a new truth sharp as her stone. Tonight, blood would flow, but it would not be Jack's. The escapee swamp clearing was alive with the tribe's chants. Torches circled the black pit like angry fireflies. Drums pounded a slow, deep beat that made the old trees tremble. At the center, Jack stood tied to the tall wooden pole, mud up to his knees. The swamp's foul water licking at his boots. His breath came out ragged. Pain shot through his leg. But worse than the wound was the feeling of helplessness. He wanted to fight, but ropes dug deep into his wrists and neck. Every move choked him more. He tried to find Leah in the crowd, but only painted. Masked faces stared back at him with hungry hate. The matriarch Shira raised her bone staff high. The drums stopped all at once. Silence fell like a blade. "O goddess of fear," Shira shouted, voice sharp and echoing, "take this. Eater, take his evil mouth so our children sleep safe." A wild cheer rose from the tribe. Warriors pushed closer, some throwing stones at Jack's chest. He winced but kept his eyes open. He wanted to see the stars one last time. But deep behind the mob, crawling through mud and reeds, Leah moved like a silent shadow, her hair tangled with leaves, her feet cut by sharp swamp roots, but her heart burned hotter than the torches. She whispered to herself, "Just a little closer. Don't see me." One guard turned. She froze in the dark. A snake slithered over her hand, but she did not flinch. When the guard turned away, she crept closer, stone knife tight in her fist. Shira stepped towards Jack. She lifted a smaller bone blade, carved with ancient runes. She spoke in the old tongue, asking her ancestors to drink the eater's breath. Jack spat blood to the side and laughed weakly. The sound made some children in the crowd shiver. "A monster should not laugh at death." Shira hissed. "Laugh, mouth eater. The swamp loves laughter. It means your bones sink faster." She placed the blade at Jack's throat. He felt its cold kiss. His pulse hammered. Leah. He thought, run far, live free. Then, a sharp whistle. A rock flew from the dark and struck Shira's staff. It cracked in half. The tribe gasped. Shira spun around, eyes hunting for the threat. From the shadows, Leah leaped forward. She slammed her stone knife into the ropes at Jack's chest. Her hands shook, but cut fast. Jack's single quotes S eyes widened. "Leah, no," he whispered. She hissed back, voice full of iron. "Yes, we go. Now." A warrior saw her and lunged. Leah spun, slashing his cheek. Jack, half free, ripped the last rope with raw strength. His hands bled, but he felt alive again. He grabbed a broken torch, swinging it at the rushing warriors. Fire scattered them back, their painted masks falling off in fear. Leah grabbed his wrist, pulling him towards the trees. Jack limped badly, but did not stop. Behind them, Shira shrieked like a wounded animal. "Stop them, catch the girl. Kill the eater." The drums started again, faster, louder, like a heart in panic. Hunters burst from the crowd, spears high, cutting through mud and fog. Jack and Leah ran blind into the swamp path. The thick vines slapped their faces. Roots grabbed at their ankles. Jack stumbled, nearly falling into a deep pit. Leah dragged him up with all her tiny strength. Out behind them, spears flew past, missing by inches. A spear had cut Jack's arm, but he barely felt it. He kept his eyes on Leah's hair, glowing faintly in the moonlight. They reached a fallen tree crossing a stream. Jack climbed first, hands slick with blood. Halfway across, a spear hit the log, shaking it. Leah lost balance. She shrieked. Jack turned back, grabbed her arm, and pulled her onto his chest. The log cracked but held. They jumped off the other side just as three warriors reached the stream. The hunters paused. They feared crossing the goddess's water at night. Their growls turned to angry howls as Jack and Leah vanished into the endless swamp fog. They ran until the drums faded into the night behind them. They fell beside an ancient stone ruin, both gasping for air. Fireflies danced above their heads like tiny stars. Jack lay on his back, chest heaving. Leah pressed her hand over his bleeding leg, tears dropping on his skin. "Why, come back?" he asked, breath broken. Leah wiped her face with her muddy sleeve. Her voice shook, but her eyes were fire. "Because you did not eat me. You saved me. Now I save you." In the silence, the swamp whispered secrets only they could hear. Two souls, hunted by old fear, now bound by a new, wild trust. Somewhere deep in the dark trees, Shira touched her broken staff and promised the goddess one thing. She would not stop until the eater's heart lay at the bottom of the swamp. Truce in fierce ruin, where Jack and Leah hid, was older than her tribe's oldest songs. Stone walls broken by time rose around them like giant dead trees. Green moss covered every crack. Moonlight slipped through a hole in the ceiling, painting their tired faces silver. Jack lay flat, pressing a dirty cloth against the wound on his leg. Every heartbeat was a fresh burn. Beside him, Leah crushed some glowing swamp herbs between flat stones. The smell was sharp, like crushed mint and bitter roots. Leah's hands trembled as she pressed the paste into his wound. Jack flinched, but did not push her away. He trusted her small hands more than he trusted his own hope now. Sorry, Leah whispered. Her voice was soft, like a child scared of thunder. Hurt. Jack forced a weak grin. Better than dying, he said, using the half-broken translator that buzzed beside them. After covering his wound with dry leaves and cloth, Leah sat back. She pulled her knees to her chest, hugging them tightly. In her head, old stories and the truth she saw, with her eyes fall like the beast in a pit. My people think your mouth is evil, she said slowly. Jack chuckled painfully. Well, not evil, just hungry. He made a chewing face. Leah giggled. The sound surprised them both. It echoed through the ruins like a forgotten song, but the laughter died fast. The drums they ran from were gone, but danger filled the air like heavy fog. Jack knew they could not stay here forever. His leg could not run again, not soon, and Leah had betrayed her people. Now both were prey. Leah, why did you help me? Jack asked, staring at her through the moonlight. Leah opened her mouth to speak, but words caught in her throat. She stood and walked to a cracked stone table in the ruin's center. From a hidden pocket in her dress, she pulled out a small carved figure, a tiny stone goddess with big eyes and a round mouth. This, she whispered, showing it to Jack. Our fear goddess, mouth always open, always ready to swallow fear, pain, and truth. My mother said, human same, big mouth, eat all. She held up the figure and then pointed at Jack. But you, not same. You mouth, protect, not swallow me. Jack sat up with effort. He touched the little stone goddess carefully. He thought of Earth's own ancient idols. People had always feared what they didn't understand. Leah, your people, they hate me. They want me dead. You too, now. His voice cracked. He hated seeing her small shoulders shake with fear. Leah put the figure down and came closer. She touched his forehead, her fingers cool and soft. Then, we run, far, where no one knows lies. Jack closed his eyes for a moment. The pain faded under her gentle touch. A reality returned like a cruel whisper. His wound, her tribe, the endless swamp, no ship, no help. Outside the ruin, a branch snapped. Both froze. Jack grabbed a broken stone spear, teeth clenched against the pain in his leg. Leah lifted the old bone goddess like a club. 3 shadows crept through the moonlight. But they were not warriors. They were hunters, children almost. Too young for real war, but eager to prove courage. Painted faces, small spears, shaky hands. The first boy stepped forward, shouting bravely, Leah, step back, we take Eater's head. Jack stood weakly, blocking Leah with his body. He felt dizzy, but did not lower the broken spear. Leah shouted back, voice clear as water. He not Eater. He man. He's safe. The boy spat on the ruined floor. Liar. Mother says fear goddess punish all liars. He rushed at Jack, spear ready to stab. Jack braced himself, but before the spear could hit, Leah swung the stone goddess at the boy's hand. A crack, the spear fell. The boy yelped, clutching his fingers. The other 2 children froze, fear and doubt now dancing in their wide eyes. Leah pointed the broken goddess at them like a weapon. Tell Matriarch Shira, she said, voice shaking, but fierce. Leah not afraid. Leah protect human. Goddess mouth shut tonight. The children ran into the dark forest, their bare feet making soft slaps against the wet ground. Their cries would reach the matriarch soon. Jack fell back against the stone wall, breathing like a dying animal. Leah knelt beside him, wiping sweat from his forehead. You fight children now, Jack joked weakly. Leah sniffed, angry tears on her lashes. I fight anyone who say you monster. Liar mouths must shut first. They sat together in the broken ruin, hearing the wind carry drums far away, drums that promised hunters would return, stronger, angrier, ready to crush this tiny truth they had found together. Leah pressed her head to his shoulder. We not wait here, we move. You teach me path to stars, I teach you path through swamp. Jack smiled despite the pain. Deal, in that moonlit ruin. The 100 souls whispered brave dreams of a tomorrow that might never come. Before, tonight, they believed, and belief was stronger than fear. The stand cold dawn crept over the swamp, turning black waters into silver glass. Inside the broken ruin, Jack and Leah prepared for what they both knew was coming, the final hunt. Jack's leg ached with each breath, but he forced himself to stand. He wrapped torn cloth tight around the wound, tying it with the vines where he could move, lip or crawl if he must. His eyes, once soft and kind, now burned with the quiet fire of a man who had nothing left to lose except the girl beside him. Leah worked beside him, her small hands quick and determined. She dragged dry branches, stones, and old broken pottery into rough piles near the ruins' broken doorways. She whispered old words under her breath, not prayers to her feared goddess, but promises to herself. They will not take him, not while I breathe. Birds scattered from the trees as distant drums rolled like thunder through the swamp. Hunters moved closer, 20 warriors this time, with painted chests and bone spears that gleamed with fresh poison. At their center walked Shira, her new staff sharp with jagged teeth and symbols of vengeance cut deep into her old skin. Jack caught Leah staring at the swamp's edge, her eyes distant. He touched her shoulder. Too late to run. Leah shook her head. Too late. Too many eyes. Too much anger. She met his eyes and managed a tiny smile. But we not run. We stand. They see truth or they die in lies. Jack laughed, broken and tired but honest. You talk like a human now. Leah's lips trembled, but she stood tall. Good. Human mouth. Brave mouth. Not eater mouth. They did not say more. They had no time for more words. They picked up their makeshift weapons. Jack's broken spear. Leah's sharpened branch wrapped with a strip of cloth dipped in fire oil. The first shadow crossed the stone doorway. Jack held his breath. The warrior stepped inside, spear raised, then dropped with a startled cry as Leah swung her flaming branch at his chest. The warrior fell backward, rolling in panic to smother the fire. Shira's voice cracked the swamp air like a whip, burned the ruin, dragged them out like beasts. Warriors charged from all sides, howling chants older than the ruined stones. Jack pushed Leah behind a pillar and swung his spear at the first spearhead. That lunged for his throat. Wood cracked, metal clanged, but Jack did not fall. His eyes saw no fear now, only a promise. Leah lives. A young hunter jumped over the broken wall. Leah stabbed him in the thigh, sending him crashing into the mud. Another warrior grabbed her hair, but she bit his wrist so hard blood spilled over her lips. She felt no shame. She felt alive. Fire arrows struck the roof. Dry moss caught fast. Smoke crawled through the ruin like a slow, choking snake. Jack coughed hard, his vision swimming in red and gray, but he did not let go of the spear. Another attacker came. Jack slammed his shoulder into him, both crashing into a wall that cracked under the force dot outside. Shira watched the ruin burn. She raised her staff to the sky, chanting words no child in her tribe ever dared to repeat. Curses older than the swamp. Dark promises to silence truth forever. Inside the ruin, flames licked the walls. Jack found Leah through the smoke, her eyes locked with his. He wanted to say sorry, wanted to say run, wanted to say live, but there was no breath left for words. Leah grabbed his wrist, pulling him toward a hole in the floor, a hidden crawl. Space she found while gathering stones. Here, old path, trust me. She screamed over the roar of fire and spears clashing. Jack hesitated, but only for half a heartbeat. He trusted her more than he trusted the stars above. Together, they dropped into the dark tunnel as the ruin behind them cracked and roared with hungry fire. They crawled on bleeding elbows through ancient roots and stone bones until the tunnel spat them out. Under a thick curtain of swamp vines, dawn had risen while they crawled. Sunlight painted the swamp in shades of hope and steam. Jack fell on his back in the wet grass, laughing between coughs. Leah lay beside him, hair soaked, face black with smoke, but eyes bright as the newborn sun. Behind the vines, they heard Shira's voice, cold as the grave. Hunt them, bring me her head if you must. No more lies. Leah rolled on her side, her small hand finding Jack's. We stand again, she said, her voice raw but unbroken. Jack squeezed her fingers, his mouth cracked into a wild, pain-filled grin. Next time, we stand in the stars, under the swamp's restless sky, till rebels breathe the heavy air, hearts pounding with fear and fierce, stubborn hope that not even a tribe's fire can swallow. The new bond mist danced over the swamp like thin ghosts as dawn turned into full morning. Insects buzzed in lazy circles above Jack and Leah, who lay hidden beneath the curtain of wet vines. Every heartbeat thundered in their ears, every breath tasted of smoke, blood, and a strange new freedom neither had known before. But freedom was never safe in a land ruled by fear. Just beyond the vines, Shira's warriors moved in tight hunting lines. Their spears stabbed the soft ground, searching for tracks. They spoke in low, angry voices, about shame, about betrayal. About the goddess's mouth forever hungry for those who defied old ways. Leah squeezed Jack's hand. Her own was shaking, but her eyes shone with a calm so deep it made Jack forget his pain for a moment. Listen, she whispered against his ear. There's one place no hunter goes. Old spirit pool, poison water, sacred. If we reach there, they fear to follow. Jack swallowed back a laugh that almost choked him. Poison, sacred, sounds perfect. Moving hurt. Every muscle in Jack's body screamed as they crawled from the vines into the swamp's deeper shadows. Leah led him by the hand through tangled roots and knee-high water that sucked at their legs. The swamp whispered old secrets around them, lies of monsters, truth of courage, promise of death, and maybe, a chance to live out behind them. A distant voice shouted, "Tracks here. They bleed. This way." Jack forced himself not to. Limped slower. His vision swam. Leah glanced back, her heart squeezing at the sight of his gray face. She wanted to cry, but the swamp would drink her tears for nothing. Instead, she whispered prayers, not to the fair goddess, but to the sky, the dirt, the human mouth that once made her tremble, but now made her strong. Hours crawled by like wounded animals. When the sun stood tall, they reached a clearing where the trees split open to reveal a deep blue pool. Bubbles rose to its surface, hissing softly. The air above shimmered with thin smoke. Leah fell to her knees at the edge, hands sinking into the mud. Spirit pool. She breathed. Old poison. Old magic. They fear it eats bones. Jack collapsed beside her, one hand clutching his leg wound. How deep? No bottom. Only goddess knows, she said. Her voice was small, as if she'd doubted old stories now. Shouts echoed behind them. The hunters were near. Spears, clashing against trees, drumming on shields. Jack forced himself up, pulling Leah close so she felt the warmth in his chest even through the pain. Leah, listen. They come. I can hold them here. You swim. Hide deep. Wait. Live. Leah grabbed his shirt with both hands, shaking her head so hard her hair whipped his face. No. You know sacrifice. No more fear goddess. No more lie stories. We stand together. Her voice rose above the swamp's hiss. Somewhere in the shadows, Shira heard it and bared her old teeth. Bring them, the matriarch roared. Push them into the pool. Let the goddess swallow truth and traitors alike. Hunters burst through the clearing like wolves. Jack roared back, lifting a broken branch like a sword. Beside him, Leah raised a sharp rock, her feet planted wide. Two shadows, cornered but unbowed. The first spear flew. Jack caught it midair and spun it back, grazing a hunter's shoulder. Leah darted in low, striking a knee, making the attacker howl. For a heartbeat, the swamp itself seemed to watch. In silence, the eater and the girl, mouths not open to devour, but open to shout life into dead hearts. But they were too many. Warriors closed around them like a living cage. Jack's legs wobbled. Leah's breath cracked in her throat. Spears pressed at their skin. And then, a miracle as small as a heartbeat. One hunter, barely older than Leah, stepped back. His spear, tip dropped. Another followed. Doubt spread like fire in dry reeds. They saw no monsters, only a man and a girl who refused to kneel to lies. Shira screamed like a broken god. She lunged at Leah with her jagged staff, eyes blind with rage. But Leah moved first. She caught the old woman's wrist and twisted, sharp, sudden, final. Shira's staff cracked in two and fell into the poison pool with a hiss. The matriarch stumbled, shocked, staring at her empty hands. Leah stepped close, her voice calm and clear. No more fear. No more eater stories. Your mouth full of lies dies today. Shira raised her hand to strike, but Jack stepped in front of Leah and, with a burst of strength no wound could steal, pushed Shira backwards. The matriarch slipped, her old feet finding no grip on wet stones, and she fell into the spirit pool. Bubbles rose. Silence swallowed the clearing. The hunters froze. No chant, no drum, only wind and poison steam. One by one, they lowered their spears. Some dropped to their knees. Heads down in shame. Leah turned to Jack. Blood, sweat, and swamp. Mud covered them both, but they were alive. More alive than any story ever allowed them to be. What now? Jack whispered, half smiling through tears. Leah pressed her forehead to his, her voice soft but strong. Now, we teach new stories, stories with truth, stories with love. Above them, the swamp sun burned away the mist. Birds sang again. Old lies drowned deep below the spirit pool. never to rise again. And in the clearing where fear once ruled, a human and an alien girl stood hand in hand, proof that some mouths speak life, not death, and that no lie is strong enough to swallow the bond they chose for themselves under the honest sky.